Right now, we want to bring up the president of the Farm Labor Organizing Committee, Mr. Baldemar Valazquez. Let's have a warm welcome for FLOC. All right.
I'd like to congratulate Sister Watson for those great comments. Pastor Rowe, you're a great witness among us. You know, this gathering reminds me when in my early starting of my organizing career in the late 60s. I had been arrested several times for trying to organize migrant workers in the labor camps in Northwest Ohio. And we founded the Farm Labor Organizing Committee in my father's front yard with about 150 migrant workers to establish the Farm Labor Organizing Committee. Those were the days when Lyndon Johnson had called for the war on poverty in the United States, where poverty was all over the country. And Lyndon Johnson says, we are a nation rich enough to eliminate poverty in this country. While I was a senior at Bluffton College, a year and a half after I started FLOC, I get a telegram from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to come to Atlanta to help plan the last campaign before he was assassinated in Memphis, to help plan the Poor People's Campaign. And I didn't have any money, so the professors donated some money to buy my ticket to go to Atlanta for this meeting. And here was a man that had this vision that the real war was not the war in Vietnam, no more than the real wars in Iraq.
Right, that's right.
That the real war was an economic war of oppression against the poor all over the world.
You're right.
That's right.
And that we had to bring people of all colors together, of all races, of all nations together, to fight the class war. That it is a war of classes.
That's right.
It is not war of Muslims against Christians,
right,
against Jews, against whoever, you know. It is a war of the rich people against the poor people.
Tell like it is. Tell like it is.
And Dr. King had this vision of uniting the poor in his Poor People's Campaign. Unfortunately, he was assassinated before he was able to bless us with his participation in molding this. So the movement that you're building now is a conclusion of that dream that we have to fulfill as a people of America, who we as American people have principles that are founded in good things, in righteous things, and that all of the things that have succeeded in this country are established in those good things.
That's right.
And it's up to you and me and all of us together to fulfill those, to make America what America is really supposed to be. Not what the rich have stolen from us and made it into a government and a country of oppression and exploitation, only to benefit people who are the affluent at the top at the expense of the people on the bottom.
That's right.
And they will pit you against everybody else. They will pit black people against brown people, against white people, against each other, so that they can have their way and laugh all the way to the bank.
That's right. That's what they do.
So they pick on those poor immigrant workers whose only crime is to try to feed their families.
That's right.
And I'm telling you one thing, if you're unemployed right now, and you're looking for a job, you're going to go anywhere you need to go to get that job.
Right.
And if somebody puts a wall there, you're going to climb over that wall to get to that job to feed your family.
Right.
So why is it any different for that poor Mexican man from the mountains of San Luis Potosí, who we have devastated his economy with that NAFTA agreement?
Right.
We've taken over the corn industry and displaced him, and all of a sudden he can't have anywhere to sell his corn because he's competing with subsidized corn from the United States. States. And so he has to go to feed his family, and then he gets arrested by that Sheriff Powell in Arizona and paraded to the street in chains to humiliate him. And his only crime is to sneak himself across the border.
How crazy is that?
Wait, what's the justice in that? Where's the righteousness in that? So I'm telling you that we have to set things right. And I spoke earlier, did an educational thing earlier about, hey, let's not back away from defending poor people who simply want to work to feed and educate and clothe their families. These immigrant workers, that's all they want to do. And I'm in the face of these labor leaders in Washington saying, look, if you are against immigrant workers because you think they're going to undercut wage levels and lower labor standards, wait a minute. What's the difference between a domestic worker who comes from Texas like I was? My family was recruited from South Texas to come to Michigan, to come to Ohio, to do your sugar beets, to do your apples, to do your cherries, to do your strawberries, to do your cucumbers. I picked all of them crops growing up as a little boy. And what's the difference between them accusing me of undercutting wages for people from Detroit? You think people from Detroit are going to go out and harvest those crops?
Hell no.